Tonight, opposition New Patriotic Party hit hard at President Mahama, accusing him and his administration of state-sponsored witch hunt and using the courts and security agencies as political weapons for revenge politics.
Reminding President John Mahama and his government that we are a nation of rule of law, and asked the NDC government to put a stop on their continuous weaponization of the state security and the judiciary against political opponents.
Is the NDC government prioritizing politics over the rule of law? Send us your comments now on Top Story. Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, and also by Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep and Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo Bruce. Now, the opposition New Patriotic Party has unleashed a ferocious attack against the Mahama administration, accusing it of orchestrating a ruthless campaign of political vendetta against former officials and loyalists. According to the NPP General Secretary, Justin Kodua, the alleged witch hunt has morphed into a sinister plot with security agencies and the judiciary becoming instrument of the particular revenge. Addressing a news conference earlier today, Justin Kodua warned that the government's refusal to back down is poisoning Ghana's democracy, eroding public trust in the rule of law and undermining the nation's institutions. The NPP is thus demanding an end to the alleged selective prosecution and a return to the principles of justice and fairness.
You recall that the New Patriotic Party had to cause a complaint against government-sponsored harassment and persecution of our members. The party held demonstration and numerous press conferences on matter, reminding President John Mahama and his government that we are a nation of rule of law, and asked the NDC government to put a stop on their continuous weaponization of the state security and the judiciary against political opponents. Unfortunately, all our calls have fallen on deaf ears, but as a party, we shall not back down on our resolve to fight this injustice.
So that is the General Secretary of the NPP. Now, the party claims the country's justice system is now under siege. According to Justin Kodua, state security agencies routinely detain party members beyond lawful limits, slap them with punitive bail conditions, and manipulate legal processes to silence dissent. He accused the Mahama administration of weaponizing the courts and turning liberty into a privilege granted only to those who serve the ruling party's interests.
It is increasingly concerning that the state security agencies continue to flout with impunity the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 14, on the grant of bail to persons arrested or detained. Our Constitution requires that persons who are arrested or detained be brought to the court within 48 hours or be released either unconditionally or on reasonable conditions as may be necessary to ensure that they appear at a later date for their trial. Thus, an accused person who is not tried within reasonable time is entitled to bail, irrespective of the nature of the alleged offense. However, friends from the media, you agree with me that in recent times, certain developments certainly suggest the worrying trend where members of the New Patriotic Party are detained beyond the lawful limit, subjected to unreasonable bail conditions, and effectively denied justice. This practice contravenes Section 96 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 30, 1960, and the Supreme Court precedents, including one in Oko versus Republic and Matipegu versus Attorney General number 2, which affirmed that bail should not be punitive or withheld merely as a punishment, and that bail condition must not be unreasonable or onerous so as to amount to a constructive refusal to grant it.
Well, let's do more on this particular development. My colleague Kenneth Jesse was at the presser and joins me in studio with a lot more from this particular news conference. Kenneth, what else did Justin say?
Well, they also talked about the raging debate on illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, which they accused the governing NDC of worsening galamsey during this regime, even than under the 8-year rule of the Akufo-Addo administration.
If you take away these media trials going on, let's turn our attention to galamsey. We have a government which came into power on the strength of coming to fight galamsey, which to them the NPP administration failed to tackle. You will recall that during His Excellency Nadankwa administration, we reached out to our friends, then opposition party NDC, that let's all sit together as one people. Let's have a clearly defined roadmap, devoid of politics, to fight this galamsey menace. In the words of the NDC, they said they are not in government. It is we, the NPP, who have voted for. And we have the state security, we have the state institutions to fight galamsey. And we should fight galamsey. And they have no role to play. The table has turned. The NDC is in government now. They have state security. They have state institutions. They have overwhelming support, even from the judiciary. But what is the state of galamsey in our country now? And any reasonable person in this country will know that the state of galamsey is even worse than it was in the NPP administration. And it is clear that galamsey has become worse under this administration because we have members of parliament who belong to the NDC. We have national officers from the NDC through to the region, to the constituencies, and even their branch who are involved in galamsey.
So that was the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodua Frimpong there, explaining why in the estimation of the NPP, they feel the NDC government is witch-hunting members and loyalists of the opposition NPP. This is Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil, enjoy a holy sleep, and also by Short Pension Trust, into the future with you. So we'll delve into this particular matter to understand whether or not, how government also sees or see this particular accusation by the opposition NPP, and for the NPP to also explain why they feel government is witch hunting when, what government is doing is following the laid down legal procedures. We'll delve deeper into all of this here on Top Story to understand, but just a bit around this particular one. They talk about detention of their party people. You will recall Chairman Woon Tume case once is related to Galamsey. You recall that. Well, let me bring in Richard Ahiagbah, who is Director of Communication of the New Patriotic Party. Richard, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, I mean, what the government is doing is to follow what the law says it should do. Why describe, a legal procedure as witch hunt? Hello, Mr. Ahiagbah, do I have you? Hello, Richard. Well, we have Richard Ahiagbah on the line. I'm trying to see if he can hear me. Richard, do I still have you on the line? Well, we'll try and rectify the line so we can bring him in to understand, a bit more better the perspective of the NPP on the accusations that the NDC government, led by President John Dramani Mahama, is engaging in what they call witch hunt. We'll also be hearing from government as well in response to the accusations by the NPP. Richard, I'm grateful to you. Do I have you?
Yes, Bruce, I can hear you, but you are very faint.
Okay, is it okay now?
Let's start and see.
Okay, I wanted to find out why you are describing legal procedures as witch hunt.
Bruce, I mean, it's not witch hunt. I don't think we've called it that much, but we're just saying that the law is being applied unevenly. And that's something that should concern all of us. Our Constitution requires that we're all equal before the law. The president, everybody, as a citizen, we're all equal before the law. So to the extent that others are treated different, others are treated worse, and others relatively better, it should be concerning. And that indicates a certain targeting which the law does not permit. So that's what we're describing.
What is making
and that's what we're concerned about.
What is making you feel that the law is being applied unevenly? What circumstances are you comparing?
Well, Bruce, you know that when the president came in, one of the few things that his attorney general did days after taking office was to file a nolle prosequi in a case relating to NDC, our former NDC appointees, including the finance minister, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Honorable Collins Dauda, and many others. They were let go because for them, the law should not hold them accountable. But when it comes to people who are part of the New Patriotic Party administration, for them, the law should deal with them without reference to due process. Okay, and that's a clear case of unequal application of the law. And I don't need to explain it, but just to paint a picture for you, which is factual. What has happened is what we're comparing and seeing that the unevenness of the application of the law is an affront to our democracy, is offensive to our sensibilities as a people. It is wrong for a democracy to operate like that. So we're just describing what we're seeing, and you should join in letting the government understand that this democracy would outlive them. They have just come to continue a process that was started in 1992. They shouldn't come and thwart it. They shouldn't come and disfigure it. They shouldn't come and mess it up. This democracy is not for the NDC. It's not for the NPP. It's for the people of Ghana. They are here to hold in trust for the people of Ghana the power that is vested in us as citizens. They have taken the power and they are using it for their own, they're applying it for their pleasure and not for the pleasure of the people of this country. That's a problem. That's something you should speak against, not only us. We are just leading the conversation because we have committed ourselves to a democratic process, and that's what we will continue to defend. We'll need you, the media, to join us so that we can nip this in the bud before it becomes something even more ugly.
But aren't these cases different in terms of comparing the cases under which the AAG filed nolle prosequi? Because that case traveled for 8 years under your regime. There was no end. I'm not saying that is why they did, but that happened. And you're comparing it to the allegations of corruption that they've taken people to court for, the Galamsey issues. I mean, are these issues that you can really do comparisons on for you to arrive at the conclusion that government is applying the law unevenly?
Undergirding any judicial process is due process. Due process is demanding, is elaborate, is meticulous, is time-consuming. It is why you say the wheels of justice grind slowly. It's because you have to observe due process. So it's not a question of time. If you can deal with a case expeditiously, do so, but it is not at the detriment of due process. So a case may have traveled 8 years, fair enough. It is because we are allowing due process to work. But the point is that accountability must be accounted for. People must account for their conduct in office. But it shouldn't be at the expense of due process. So yes, if the cases have traveled under us for 8 years, it is because we are according due process to the people. We could summarily have convicted people. Would that be legal? Would that be fair? No. So if the NEC government has come and they have a certain desire to be expeditious about court cases, fine. But it doesn't mean that they should set aside due process and then just treat people unequally. So if it's 8 years, then they should try and, or instead of filing nolle prosequi, be expeditious about it and deal with the case in court. Because Ghanaians still need accountability. Today, Saglemi is still hanging out there because some people who signed the contract and dispense of $200 million have not accounted for it. So we have a problem. Okay? So the issue is not how long the issue takes. The issue is ultimately we must have people be accountable. So if it's 8 years and you want to do it faster, do it. But don't clear your people and turn around and deny people due process and drag them as though they are common criminals when no court has proven them guilty. Today I was in your studio and your host was giving an example citing what Attorney General has said Gifty Wari has done, what Attorney General said SCB has done, what Attorney General said Abdul Hanan has done, as though that what Attorney General said is factual. It's his view, it's his research. That is not a fact of the matter to suggest that they are guilty. Okay, but this is what is happening in our country. That perception is sinking. People are thinking that these people are criminals already. But the law presumes everybody innocent. And if today is happening to Gifty and we are quiet, it's happening to Hanan and we are quiet, tomorrow the people will be emboldened to do that tomorrow. And so when the NDC they are charting this path,
okay,
and other people find it convenient tomorrow to do it, and they're also convicting people summarily because they feel they have the platform to do it. You know what we are doing?
Okay.
We're destroying our democracy.
All right, Richard, do stay with me. Let me bring in the Minister of State in charge of government communication, Felix Kwakye Ofosu. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. How is government reacting to these accusations leveled against you by the opposition NPP that you are applying the laws unevenly? Hello, Mr. Kwakye Ofosu.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir.
Well, the NPP are huffing and puffing. They are not happy that their misdeeds and corruption and corrupt practices whilst in government are coming to light. They are unhappy that the government of Ghana is implementing the Operation Recover All Loot, which is a policy that we canvassed before the people of Ghana. And through that, we will be able to hold them to account. They are unhappy about that. They think that by holding them to account, they will be exposed for the people of Ghana to see that they were not trustworthy and that they abused the mandate and resources that they gave to them. That is the only reason why they are saying the things they are saying. Otherwise, it is difficult to decipher how anybody can be opposed to a process that involves holding public officials to account. Now, when the NPP was in power, there's a tall list of people that they took through the same process that we are taking them through. When Godfrey Dami was Attorney General, he appeared on your station and labeled President Mahama government official one. When Godfrey Dame did that, had he convicted President Mahama publicly? We were in this country when the NPP composed songs about Woyomi and sang it on media networks for about 2 to 3 years. Every single day, they mentioned Woyomi's name in relation to corruption. When they did that, had they convicted Woyomi publicly? We were in this country when the NPP took Dr. Opuni, Honorable Dr. Atoforsen, Sedu Agongo, Collins Dauda, and co. to court for alleged corrupt offenses. When they did that, were they applying the laws unevenly? Let them show me which NPP person they took to court in all the years that they were in power. So these are misguided claims that are not borne out by the facts. The truth is that Ghanaians came to a conclusion in 2024 that the NPP had mismanaged their finances and that corruption had become pervasive. So they demanded action from the various political parties that were vying for their votes. We in the NDC promised that we will implement a policy called Operation Recover All Loot, which involves holding to account persons who may have acted in ways that border on corruption. And that is precisely what we have done. Again, the Attorney General, whose name they like to mention and create the impression that he has done something out of the ordinary, has only said that based on investigations, I have found evidence that suggests that Mr. A or Mrs. B has done A, B, C, D, which is against the law. Because of that, on this day, I am taking the person to court. This is standard practice. By doing so, the Attorney General does not convict anybody. It is the reason why after the Attorney General speaks, nobody goes to prison unless they go through due process in court, where the accused persons are given opportunity to mount a defense. If the court finds that the defense is satisfactory or that the Attorney General has not been able to prove the alleged corruption, the people will walk, as has been the case before in this our country. So the noises that the MPP are making are only designed to stop government from doing the things that meet with the expectation of the people of Ghana, which is that persons who have mismanaged the nation's finances, caused loss, or acted in ways that border on corruption are held to account and nothing more.
But and don't they have a point when they say, for example, Chairman Wontimi was granted a 1.5 million, 15 million cedis bail for Galamsey activities, alleged Galamsey activities. Then the MP for Selective North, who is also being interrogated or being charged for Galamsey activities, allegedly, has been granted to a bail of 150,000 cedis. And don't they have a point when they say then that is an uneven
application? First of all, what is the
law?
basis for that claim? The MP has not been charged for involvement in Galamsey. He has been charged because he is alleged to have led some youth to obstruct justice, which is the lawful arrest of persons believed to be engaged in Galamsey. So it is important that you do not misinform the public. Nobody has said anywhere that this MP is engaged in Galamsey, unless, of course, some evidence comes to light.
Nobody has said so.
So again, you cannot say that for different offenses, the same bail application should apply. It will simply not make sense. When you are charged for disorderly conduct, the conditions you are given for bail will not be the same as that of an armed robber. In the case of the NPP, many of the people who have been charged for corruption, in other words, stealing public funds. And therefore, the bail is pegged at an amount that covers the amounts involved in the offenses that they've been charged with, so that they do not escape justice. They do not evade justice or become fugitives. That is what has happened. But sometimes the NPP's logic is questionable. Their penchant to mix up issues, double in political obfuscation, and illogical argument must be condemned for what it is. How do you see that somebody who is accused of being part of the theft of 2.2 billion Ghana cedis to have the same bail conditions as someone who is said to have obstructed justice? How can you make such an argument?
Okay.
And how does a whole political party organize a press conference and say this and expect to be taken seriously?
No, but and then again, when the Attorney General gives update on cases that it is prosecuting or investigating, and does not give an update on what is happening to the investigations into the allegations concerning your second national vice chairman Abanga and Joseph Yamin
again
for their alleged involvement
don't
in
encourage
Galamsey.
NPP logicality.
No.
When the Attorney General came to the event involving CSOs, he gave an update. He told you that even more allegations have been made against the two individuals, so he's looking into it. It is not all the 280 cases that the Attorney General is investigating that he has given an update on. Has the Attorney General given an update on the mathematical set issue? Has he given an update on the Wi-Fi issue? Has he given an update on the National Cathedral issue, for instance? So where from this claim of selectivity?
But to be fair,
how can you say that because the Attorney General has not given another update on the Abanga and Yamin investigation, there is selectivity? There's no basis for it. What they are doing is that they are clutching at straw, making illogical arguments in order to create the impression that they are saying something that is sound. If they believe they are innocent, they should not be worried about what anybody says. When did the NPP become sensitive to allegations that are made? As I told you before, were they Richard Ahiagbah? Was he not the communications director of the NPP when they went on TV and labeled President Mahama government official one? When they did that to President Mahama, were they declare him guilty? Or President Mahama did not have blood flowing through his veins? Why do they expect different treatment from what they did to others?
Okay.
And how do you then say that because the Attorney General has not given an update on every case, he should not give an update on some cases? Where does that logic tell you?
Okay, I'm grateful to you, Mr. Minister, for your time here on the show. Richard, you have your response from the government. So you cannot describe that as an uneven application of the law because the cases differ from each other.
Bruce, the arrogance in Felix's voice is shocking. They've just been in government for how many days, and they can't tolerate dissent already. He is citing Wontumi. Why don't you remind him of the crimes involving the finance minister, the allegations, the what he was in court for? Why didn't you remind him of Honorable Collins Dauda? Is that also peanuts? Is that comparable to the allegation that he says is not egregious in the case of the MP? But who makes Felix the person to determine the value of a case and which one should attract more bail and which one shouldn't? They are simply creating two Ghana for us. One Ghana for the NDC, the other Ghana for all of us. They don't believe that we should, all of us Ghanaians left apart from them and their special group of people, should enjoy due process. Everything Felix is telling you is just to run roughshod over the argument and say it's illogical, it is this, it is that. Simply what we're saying is that the law provides for people's presumption of innocence. Felix did not dispute
but he says the pronouncement of the AG, as you did in Government Official 1, does not mean that the person has been, judged upon to say he is found guilty of the issue he's been accused of.
Go to the court of public opinion, okay? Go there. Go on social media and see how people are referring to Gifty Owari. See how people are referring to Osei Sibe. See how people are referring to Abdul Hanan. And come back and tell me that people don't feel that they are guilty already. But is that supposed to be the case? No. A court must pronounce you guilty. But what we have now is Attorney General pronouncing people guilty. And in the court of public opinion, people think that they are guilty already. Okay. And Felix tell you, just to conclude, Felix tell you that, Attorney General is not providing update on all the cases. How convenient. Why is he not providing update at least on one of the NDC cases? And everything is providing update on is on the MPP. Okay, you should tell us what is happening in the case of the what is the name? The national organizer. What is happening there? What is the update there? You understand? He's not providing that, but he's conveniently chosen a group of people to affirm the position we're saying that the law is being applied in an uneven way. That is the case. The president has removed the Supreme Court justice. He is now the supreme leader. He does whatever he wants in the court now. The Chief Justice case for judicial review cannot be heard.
All right. I'm grateful.
It cannot be heard.
I'm grateful, Richard. So what do you intend to do as a party beyond the press conference?
Well, the only thing we have to do is to have democracy work. to mobilize public conscience against what they are doing, and to press on to say that we have a constitution and that constitution must work. That's the only power democracy has given us as a people, a recourse against a tyrannical majority. What we have now is a tyrannical majority. They feel they have overwhelming majority in parliament. They have the executive, and they have now removed the chief justice, and so therefore the judiciary has been completely undermined, and so therefore they run this country. We will use democracy as our recourse. We'll continue to press our demands as we should in a democracy, and we believe that a conscience, the collective conscience of Ghanaians will arise one of these days, and this tyranny will end.
I'm grateful to you. Richard Ahiagbah is Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party, and that has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connect and Energies Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy Holy Sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Samuel Braze. Up next is Newsnight.